Hello, my name is Lex, and welcome to the video. Today, I am drawing oh boy, is it the fifth sign? The fifth sign, I think? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Leo, so I'm drawing Leo, represented by the lion, and as you would expect, Leo people, they're supposed to be very courageous, they're supposed to be very outgoing, showy, and they like to be the center of attention, typically. But that's just a stereotypical Leo. I have a friend who's a Leo, and, she definitely likes attention, but I wouldn't say that she's, so outgoing that that's, her main personality trait, I don't know. Zodiacs are fun, but I don't think they're entirely truthful, just like any personality test. And going out with him, so when I was drawing him, this is his terrible, terrible rough sketch, and we love those here. But when I started drawing him, again, usually when I start out, I don't quite know what I want to do. And originally, I was like, yes, I'm going to do watercolor, which is, you can see I'm starting to do that here. No cut tool involved. I know, I'm a terrible person for using it all the time. I love that tool, and it's so good. But anyway, no cut tool involved. But I originally thought that I was going to go with really wacky, not realistic colors because Leo people tend to be very out there and they tend to be not the norm. Not weird by any means, but just they're not afraid to be bold. But I ended up going with a pretty natural color palette. And I still like how it looked. In fact, it had a more realistic look, if anything. And I would say that the teeth, the mouth, actually took me the longest, but I put a lot of work and effort into making it look a little more realistic. Right now it just looks like he's taking a big old yawn. Something to know about watercolors if you haven't played with them before, and I'm no expert on watercolors, mind you, in real life, so non-digitally, I've only drawn in watercolor once, and I painted a cow, and I have it on my wall, and I love my cow. But anyway, this is only the first time that I've ever done digital watercolor as well, so I have done watercolor exactly 2 times in my life as an artist. And that includes childhood. I don't know where my childhood went because it seems like every kid played with watercolors when they're little because, they're washable and they come out of things easily, which parents love, unlike acrylic paint or oil paint, God forbid. But yes, so something to know about watercolor is that when you're layering it, it never layers how you expect it to. Maybe that's because I'm an extreme rookie. But it never layers how you'd expect it to, so you really have to play with it, you have to do a lot of layering to get the color you expect, and actually I really like that about it because I like shading, because I'm weird, and I've fangirled about it in a lot of other videos, so I won't do it here. But they're really fun! You'll notice that I'm drawing in teeth that weren't originally in the rough draft, and that's completely normal. When you're an artist, you work around things, you move things around, you have to draw on things that you didn't originally see. Because when you're taking in references, a lot of the time, you're just trying to get out the basic details of the sketch. And as you go about drawing it and you're putting a little more work and you're focusing on certain areas more because, I'm small brain, like I mentioned in the cancer video about the crab legs. But as you're putting more focus into certain areas, you'll notice seems like something's missing and you'll go and look at your references and you're like, oh yeah, there's definitely supposed to be teeth there. And then you go and fix it from there. There's no problem with having an ugly rough draft. I'm a big fan of ugly rough drafts. And the same goes for writing. Actually, you know what? when I was a freshman in college, which was not very long ago, when I was a freshman in college, I had to take this mandatory writing class, and I did not love it. However, the professor made us do readings every week, like a lot of readings. Even though it was a writing class, we did a lot more reading than writing. But that's fair, because, the two go hand in hand, and you learn how to write from reading, and vice versa. But there was this one section where this lady was like, I think the title of the paper that she wrote was called Shitty Rough Drafts. And I was like, wow, that's quite an attention getter, because, you don't often see the word shitty in a college textbook. But I read it, because it was assigned. And basically she was just talking about how she really, really struggled as a writer, because originally her rough drafts, she wanted everything to be perfect. When you start out, typically you want things to be perfect, and you're thinking about how other people will see it, and you don't want it to seem like you're only doing the art the way you want it to be seen. Like, it's a really weird limbo, and I understood what she was talking about. But she talked about that, and she said the only way that she could really get over her anxiety over having a not so great rough draft was by just puking up all over the paper. So basically she called it vomiting up all over the paper. So she'd be writing a journal piece that was only supposed to be like one section long, a tiny little segment, like 4 paragraphs. And instead of writing a 4-paragraph rough draft, she would write like a 4-page rough draft. That's insane. Like, that's over the top. But if you're that wordy and you can go do that, then do it. Go get it, girl. But, and then later she would come back and, level it down and cut things out and revise, whatever, so that she could end up with an end product that she really liked. And the exact same goes for the visual arts. Because when you're putting down your rough draft and you're like, it looks pretty rough to me, well, that's what they're called, rough drafts, my friend. And all of mine look absolutely horrid, and I'm not even afraid to say it. But it's okay, because you can come back to it, you can work with it, you can focus in on a small segment, little brain, small brain, and it really helps. Can I just say that I love how this lion has a comb over? No joke, 2 of the references that I used, the line did have a comb over, and I was like, this is great. So I went with it. I really like it. And it was about at this time that I started focusing on things other than the ear, so I'm putting in the last of the mane, and I noticed his nose kind of looks like it's just floating in there, just floating out there. And so, usually when I'm drawing a tedious thing, like fur on the mane, I'll notice something else, and I'm like, I should probably go work on that next, and that's exactly where I was probably thinking of going. There it is. Working on the nose. And I'm gonna try to make it look like he's not just yawning, because he's supposed to be roaring. He's a lion. Lions go roar. If you've never heard a lion roar before, it's not like, in the movies they depict lions as almost like a high-pitched, weird sound. That's actually a leopard roar, or a leopard call. And they use them because they sound a lot more menacing. Lion roars, yes, they carry for a while. I'll have to look up how many miles. I think they'll carry for a mile or 2. I'm not quite sure, but a long while. But they're not exactly menacing. They kind of sound like a low bellow. And now he looks like he's putting some effort into that roar instead of just a yawn. But honestly, that could be a yawn too, because when I yawn, that's definitely what my face looks like. And I wanted to do an orange background, kind of to show like the Savannah sunset, the clouds and all that, even though there's rarely ever any big clouds out there, but you can dream. And right out in the open, got the Leo symbol, which, you know what, I had never memorized the Leo symbol. It always reminded me like of a strand of hair for some reason when I was little, but it's not like that at all. I think it's kind of pretty. I don't know how it symbolizes a lion at all, but it's very pretty. And you've made it all the way to the end of the video, so thank you for watching, and if you liked it, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. See you, bye.